Hello all, and welcome back to Short and Smoky. It is another fairly warm day in the month of February. I am sitting atop Hanging Rock State Park in Danbury, North Carolina. Behind me you can see the ridge of Moore's Knob. You've probably seen this before on some of my On the Road with Vincent videos, but I was just in the area today. Thought I'd stop up here, have a little cigar, just enjoy my time out. And the wind is picking up a little, so we might have that audio issue again as last time, but we'll try to push through it. Today, we're going to be smoking a Perla Del Mar Corojo from J.C. Newman Cigar Company. I have smoked the Perla Del Mar Maduros before. I've never tried the Corojo, though. I was recommended this by the lady whose name is escaping me right now, at Milan Tobacconist in Roanoke, Virginia. She recommended this. I got one for my other smoking partner, Steven, our vocalist, and I got myself one as well while I was there. So we're going to go ahead and light this up, and we'll see what we think. All right, so instantly getting some notes of like a salted caramel in there. Definitely a little bit of woodiness in there. Almost a little note of citrus in there. Not quite sure on that one. But definitely like a very sweet nuttiness. Some almonds in there. And like I said, that salted caramel. Very nice so far. All right. We're going to go ahead and get into the first third of this, though. And I'll see you then. All right. So that's about the end of the first third right there. I have not dropped my ash off yet. Probably will as I'm speaking here. But so far, this is a pretty nice little smoke. I know this ain't going to take me too long at all. I've only been smoking on it for about 15-20 minutes right now. But still getting those notes of salted caramel, some sweet almonds in there. And I'm pairing this with a fig bar again. And it's bringing me very interesting flavor profiles with that. Really bringing out a sweetness on the retrohale. Can't really put my finger on it, but kind of like maybe some sweet spices, like a little bit of cinnamon in there, maybe clove, something along those lines. Getting a little bit of woodiness in there still, but for the most part, flavors haven't really changed though. But we'll see how this turns out as we get into the second third. All right, so that's about the end of the second third here. Gonna have to knock some points off for construction. It was doing really good until about halfway through the third, then started to unravel a little bit here. As for the burn, it's gone out a couple of times, so probably gonna have to knock a couple points off for that. For the most part, though, now I'm getting a little more hints of just a little more hints of coffee in here. Still getting those woody flavors from the end of the first third, and still very sweet cigar, especially on the retrohale. Definitely getting a little more pepper in as we get into the end of this. It's not very peppery, just a little touch, especially on the retrohale. Still getting that sweet spice in there. All in all, not bad at all, though. We're just going to keep smoking through this, and we'll see what we finish with. All right. So that brings us to the final third of this cigar. A little over an inch left here, but in all honesty, I'm going to have to go ahead and let this one go. Not quite as thrilled about this one as I wanted to be. Again, this was a Perla Del Mar Corojo from J.C. Newman. This was sporting an Ecuador Corojo wrapper with Nicaraguan filler. Length was 4 3/4 inches with a 52 ring gauge. This was a Robusto and a box pressed cigar at that. Now I gave this a V cut as I do with all my box pressed cigars. Cost was about $7 at Milan Tobacconist in Roanoke, Virginia. And I've had this aging for about 2 months now. Got it right before Christmas. And the band on this, I had to give a 4. I kind of like the old Perla Del Mar band a little better than this one. This one they made a little bit plainer. Still very elegant band, but I just went and knocked 1 point off of that. As for the appearance, this was a beautiful cigar right out of the cellophane, so I gave it a 10 for appearance. Price, I had to go ahead and give this thing an 8. It was only $7, which is very good, but I'll get into why I knocked a couple points off for the price. The draw was great through the majority of this cigar up until the final third. It really loosened up, and it was like basically just sucking air out of this thing. The burn, I had to knock quite a bit off. I had to give it a 6 for burn. I've had to relight this thing probably 5 times now. And the majority of that was after the first third. First third was flawless. Then it just kind of started falling apart on me. Construction, I had to give an 8 as well because it started unraveling. And it was a pretty big crack coming down the side. So 8 for the construction. Smoke output was also an 8. It kind of wavered there at the end. Every time I'd relight, it'd be great. But for the most part, it wasn't so hot. Strength, this was a pretty mild cigar. A little too mild, though, for my liking, so I gave it an 8 for that as well. Flavors, we can get into. The first third, as I said, had a lot of salted caramel, sweet almonds, very light citrus notes, and the fig bar brought out some sweetness on the retrohale. I was also pairing with some more of these truffles. Again, not sponsored by any of this. And they didn't really do anything for the flavor. They didn't help bring anything out, so not a great pairing there. And I was also pairing this with a Boylan Black Cherry Soda again. And, that was kind of neutral. Nothing really coming out of that either. The second third started getting more sweet spice, a little cinnamon in there, more woody notes, and pepper was starting to come in. Those notes of the caramel and almond were still there, but that's when all the relights and the wrapper started cracking. Then the final third started getting little notes of coffee in there, coming in a little bit stronger. The pepper was definitely getting stronger, especially on the retrohale. This was kind of starting to dry me out. I was constantly having to take a drink because it was getting rather peppery at the end. Not too spicy, just that little pepper bite in there. Some light earthy notes started coming in as well, but the draw got very weak at the end, so I kind of struggled through this last little bit here, but I think that's well enough to give it a 5 for the amount smoked. As for the flavors, I gave it an 8. They weren't some of my favorite flavors, but they weren't bad either. Still very nice. Never got bitter on me. It stayed pretty well consistent with that sweetness and then gave way to more pepperiness at the end, like I said. But I think the flavors were fine. Just not exactly what I go for in a cigar. I gave it an 8 for body, though, overall, which was pretty nice having those, the changes through the thirds. But for the most part, it wasn't a whole lot of flavor there. So I did knock just a couple points off of that, giving it an 8. My total smoke time was an hour and 15 minutes with a final score of 81 for the Perla Del Mar Corojo by J.C. Newman. I definitely still like the Maduro Perla Del Mar better, but this one wasn't bad. I would give this another chance, see if maybe it was just a fluke on the wrapper cracking and the burn, but still a pretty good cigar overall. So yeah, an 81 for this, a little lower than my average, but uh, again, I'll give it another shot eventually. But as the sun is quickly setting behind the mountain here, I better get on before they close the park gates. So thank you again for joining me for another episode of Short and Smoky. I shall see you in the next one, and stay smoky, my friends. Hey everyone, so I thought I should mention something as I'm editing this video. Um, I know in the review I said that this cigar was pretty mild all the way through, actually very mild, but for whatever reason on the drive home after smoking this, not even 20 minutes later, I got very sick. And it felt like a cigar sickness. And I haven't got sick off of a cigar in quite some time, but that's what it felt like. But it came out of nowhere. Like it was literally about 20 minutes later. I was driving up the road, and it just hit me all at once. So I don't know if it was actually from the cigar or maybe from something I'd ate earlier. I really have no proof either way. So I'm still going to keep my rating the same. I don't know you know, if that was a factor. I'm just going to go ahead and leave the strength rating where it was and everything else. But I did leave it in my notes that it made me sick. So, fair warning to you, if you do try this cigar, it might sneak up on you, or it could have just been a fluke thing for me. But, anyways, that's all, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the review, and I'll see you again next time.